All right, so for the moment you've all been waiting for, here are the top 5 reasons to get your hair transplant in Turkey. Hey guys, welcome to another HT FAQ. Today I just want to start out by saying thank you to all of my viewers. I started this channel 4 weeks ago. I have already over, I think, 4,000 views, so I think that's good. So please, if you're watching this video and you haven't liked or subscribed, please click those buttons down below. It means a lot to me and it will motivate me to keep making this awesome HT content for you. All right, so with the Thanksgiving holiday right around the corner, I thought, what better time than to talk about turkey? And I'll be upfront right away. I am not in any way getting any kickbacks or promotions for making this video. That would be nice. No, but for real, I just like helping people out. And I like sharing facts and of course some of my own personal opinions. That's really why I made this channel. At the end of this video, I'll be sharing the 5 reasons why Turkey stands out as the mecca of hair transplants. I'll also be sharing some photos of a friend of mine, a patient that just got back from Turkey last week. All right, let's head up to the kitchen and cook this turkey. All right, welcome to the kitchen. For those new to this channel, my name is Dave. I'm 36 years old. I'm married with 2 kids, a 7-year-old and a 6-year-old, who I am now a full-time teacher of the year, thanks COVID. I'm actually an airline pilot, but there are no passengers for me to fly right now. So I'm using my creative outlets to bring you content on home theater, hair transplants, and happy travel. All right, let's talk turkey. What is it that makes turkey #1 in hair transplants? I'm not trying to discredit anyone, but Turkey is setting the bar. They are setting the standard for quality and price. Some of you know I've had 2 hair transplants, and the first one was here in the United States back in 2017. It was an FUT 2500 graft procedure. I'm not gonna tell you how much I spent, but with the rental car, the hotel, and the surgery, it was not cheap. And then just last month, in October of 2020, my wife and I decided to fly to Turkey for my 3200 graft DHI procedure with Dr. Cinik. And I can honestly say the 2 of us had an amazing time. But back in 2017, I wasn't looking for surgeons outside of the United States. To be honest, you can find a clinic just about anywhere. And although I'd heard about Turkey being a popular place, I think the idea at the time, it just felt kind of sketchy to go anywhere outside of the US. We all know how important or how big of a deal a hair transplant is. You're trusting someone with your hair. If they screw up, you're kind of screwed. I think a lot of us have seen some horror stories of some really bad, botched hair transplants, and I certainly didn't want any of those to be me. But the fact of the matter is, everyone wants amazing results, right? But no one wants to spend thousands and thousands of dollars on a hair transplant. Well, I can tell you 100% that just does not exist in the United States. Sorry. It also doesn't exist in the UK or Canada or Australia. The list goes on. If you want a hair transplant here in the United States, it's going to cost you at a minimum $6,000, and that is an absolute minimum. So for me, after almost 4 years since my first transplant, I decided to get a second procedure to fill in those areas, to make it look, more natural, and to make it look like it did when I first met my wife. But the twist was I had discovered DHI. So with my first procedure, I had a really bad recovery. You get that stitched line in the back that's really uncomfortable for the first couple weeks. I couldn't sleep for shit. I also had a lot of swelling that went kind of down towards the face. So I just wanted to avoid all that. And I wanted the advantages that DHI brought, which was the quicker recovery and the closer density that Choi pen can give. So I began researching surgeons that specialized in DHI. So after trying to find clinics here in the United States that would do large DHI procedures like 3,000 grafts plus, I was finding out there just weren't that many clinics that would do procedures that large. And the ones that did wanted an enormous amount of cash, like $15,000 kind of cash. So of course with that, I went back to the drawing board, and that's when I started to research reputable surgeons in Turkey. Guys, it was incredible. Just walking off the airplane in Istanbul, I didn't really expect to see it everywhere, but I mean, there were patients walking around the airport that had just had a hair transplant like it was no big deal. Legit, there are people flying in from all over the world to Istanbul to get their hair transplant. When we got to the hotel lobby, sure enough, there were patients with their headbands and the bandages just sitting right downstairs. And the next day during my surgery, my wife was out sightseeing and she told me, she couldn't even count the number of guys that she saw who were transplant patients. They were just out and about enjoying their trip to Turkey. I was already convinced that Turkey was the place to be, but I think seeing all those people really put me at ease, just knowing that I wasn't the only one going through this, that I wouldn't be the only one walking around looking like a freak with an open head wound. And I think it was good to know that I'm not gonna be the next botched hair transplant meme. Nope, nope. It's really cool to see that even during this whole COVID crisis, that men are taking this opportunity to improve something in their life. I think that's really cool. All right, so for the moment you've all been waiting for, here are the top 5 reasons to get your hair transplant in Turkey. All right, so getting started with number 1, price. Now this one probably doesn't surprise any of you, but for about $2,500 to $3,500, you can get an amazing hair transplant in Turkey. Now, many of you are probably asking, yes, but what about the cost of travel? So I actually have it up here on my computer. And right now, for just over $1,000, you can fly direct out of New York's JFK to Istanbul on Turkish Airlines. Now, speaking of air travel, their airport is nothing short of amazing, like absolutely stunning. It's only 2 years old and it's not even fully built yet. When it's finished, it'll be the largest airport in the entire world. The entire world, think about that. I'm a pilot, so I've definitely traveled around the globe a few times, and my wife and I both agree that this is the absolutely nicest airport that we've ever seen or been to. So just a really cool first impression when we landed in Istanbul. Also too, our US dollar spends very well there. Everything is quite affordable. So for like a giant bottle of water, it was, I think, 15 cents. A 30-minute taxi ride cost us only $5. Although one did try to rip us off by going the long way to the hotel. Have your Google Maps out. And last thing here, bring cash. And for 2 reasons. 1, the front desk of your hotel will exchange your US currency into Turkish lira for no fee. And this can be used for taxis and water and snacks and things like that. But really the main reason is your clinic will likely charge a fee if you use a credit card for the procedure. So bring enough money to cover the cost of your procedure and obviously round up a little bit to give yourself a buffer. One additional thing to note is that my clinic did not accept older currency. So make sure if you're bringing bills that they're the newer ones with all the security features in there. Number 2, transportation. All right, so everything is planned out ahead of time. You're going to give your clinic your itinerary, all your flight information. And with that, they will make sure that you have a private driver, a private car waiting for you at the airport. I can't express to you just how amazing it is to not have to stress about how to get to the hotel, how to get to the clinic, both for the surgery and the follow-up visit the next day. Also, back to the airport in time for the flights. I'm telling you, they take care of all of it. If you plan to check out some of the other sites, you'll need your own money for transportation. But for all the important stuff, the clinic, the hotel, the airport, that's all taken care of for you. No stress. Number 3, accommodations. So you don't book a hotel, they do. The clinic pays for your stay. Now for me, I had to pay an extra $15 to have my wife stay there with me, which basically was there to cover the cost of the included breakfast. Well worth it. So we stayed at the Point Hotel Barbaros, and we had a great experience there. Obviously it had the essentials, it was quiet, it was clean and comfortable, but it also had a really good breakfast, which we weren't really planning for, but that was a nice little perk. And our room had a really nice view, just overlooking the skyline with the Bosphorus. That was definitely a bonus. So the location was good for, I guess, the views, although we didn't really stick around real close to the hotel. I would encourage anyone who does this to really try to get out and explore while you're in Turkey, to check out this awesome town. Number 4, quality and professionalism. Okay, so obviously nothing on this list really matters if we don't find a clinic that can bring us a quality transplant in a safe and clean environment. For me, I was amazed at just how organized everything was, even to the sheer number of staff members that worked with Dr. Cinik. From the time I was picked up at the hotel to the time I was dropped off after the surgery, I can say that I truly felt taken care of. There was security personnel, a welcome host, nurses, hair cutting people, photographers, the surgical team, also a translator that was really helpful, but he was always there to make sure I knew exactly what was going on. Even after the surgery, the professionalism didn't stop there. Because they're a 24-hour clinic, we were able to contact them with a last-minute schedule change. They were able to move up my follow-up appointment where they wash the scalp and remove the bandages and get us to the airport a few hours earlier that next day. And over the past several weeks, they've continued to keep in touch with me, answering any questions that I might have, as well as asking for photos so they can see the recovery process and making sure that the healing's going okay. Number 5, history and architecture. Okay, so this one's just kind of a bonus. A lot of these I knew about beforehand, but there's some on this list that I'm gonna share with you that I really wish I'd known before I went to Turkey. So I'm just going to read through a few of these, and there's obviously a lot more to check out, but here it goes from the top. So Istanbul is the only city in the world in which it is geographically located in Europe and Asia. That's right, it is split between 2 different countries. Something else, there's 2 suspension bridges that connect those sides of Asia and Europe. It's over the Bosphorus Strait. So you've got a third one that is being built, and that one's not built yet. Istanbul was the capital city of 3 major empires, the Eastern Roman Empire, the Byzantine Empire, and the Ottoman Empire during their rule. Istanbul is one of the largest cities in the world with around 15 million people. The Hagia Sophia, which we actually visited, was the largest church in the world for 900 years, and it's actually been turned into a museum and then now an open mosque. So pretty crazy. It went from a Christian church to an Islamic mosque. The world's first temple, the Göbekli Tepe, if I'm saying that right, is located in Turkey, and it is 12,000 years old. 12,000. There's too much to mention right now, but there's so many shrines and mosques and beaches to check out. There's Turkish bathhouses that, if you bring your wife or your girlfriend, she can go check out and get a spa treatment during your surgery, or you can just go the day before your surgery. Just a tremendous amount of things to do in this awesome town, and I hope you get the chance to check it out. Okay, so I just got kicked out of the kitchen. I don't know why I thought that would be a good idea to do my episode up there, but that's okay. I just want to share with you real quick some photos of my buddy Matt, who just got back from Turkey last week from his hair transplant with Dr. Cinik. So Matt, he's 52, he's from California, and he's also an airline pilot. That's actually how we know each other. We're coworkers, but he was able to bring his wife with him to Turkey for his surgery, and they were able to turn that into kind of a miniature vacation. Awesome, and I'm so glad you guys were able to do that. But when I was talking with Matt before his surgery, he said that he had been bald for over 15 years. He had been shaving his head for that long, and he kind of just gave up on the idea of ever having his hair back. And he said the number one reason why he never considered a hair transplant was the cost. But then he saw a post of mine about my hair loss and my recent trip to Turkey, my hair transplant, and he decided to reach out to me. It was super cool. I kind of just told him my story and about my entire experience. And it just worked out that he had 2 weeks of vacation coming up, and he said, I'm gonna do it. So he did. So he booked his trip, and I think within about a month from the time we started talking, he was on an airplane out to Istanbul to see Dr. Cinik and their team. So I'm super excited for him. In fact, I'll be tracking his progress as well as my own. One cool thing to mention is he went with a Sapphire FUE technique as opposed to the DHI FUE that I had. So a few differences there, but he also then had his chest hair and beard hair harvested for his massive 4,800 graft procedure. I'm not the expert when it comes to Sapphire FUE, but what I do know is the main difference between Sapphire and traditional FUE is that the tool that they use to make the incisions in the recipient site actually has a microscopic piece of sapphire stone. And apparently it doesn't dull like titanium or steel. So it can actually make a smaller incision than metal blades. And what this means, if you've watched my other videos, is the smaller the better. It's less trauma and more density. So I'll be sharing his updates with you. I'm also hoping to have Matt on my channel soon so he can share his experience with you all. I do know that this time of the year, it gets pretty busy with the holidays, so it may have to wait until after the new year, but hopefully not. All right, thanks for sticking with me. I just want to give you a quick 5-week update on my progress. So here we are. All this area in the front that you see is kind of a pinkish color of the skin. That was the area that was transplanted. The hair that's right here was actually the hair that I already had that I brought to Turkey, and that was from my first procedure. So all of the hair that was transplanted last month has shed, and I do mean all of it, because I don't have any extra density right now. So now it's just the waiting game for that to grow. So I'll show you the sides, the top, the sides, and of course even the back and the crown area. And then as far as the scars go, they're all pretty much hidden at this point. I will say probably the most visible thing is not the FUT scar, but the DHI or the FUE harvesting. There's that obvious line between my crown and where they harvested. So, obviously that will hopefully thicken up. During the process, it's kind of, oftentimes it kind of shocks the area, so the hair just isn't going to be as thick. So basically, as the months go on, that line that you see should disappear. Something new that I'm doing, I just started minoxidil or Rogaine. So I've been putting that foam on the recipient sites and letting that sit for about a half hour or longer, and then showering. It's something I was never able to do in the past, but now that I'm home a lot more, it's certainly something that I'm able to put into my daily routine. So I'm not doing anything too crazy other than that, but anything I can do that can kind of help those new follicles grow and thrive, I guess. Well, let me just wrap this up and say, yes, it is totally natural as an American to feel at least a little apprehensive to want to leave the country, to travel outside the US for a surgery or a medical procedure. And that was me 4 years ago. When you live in a country that has just about everything, including good health standards, it can feel risky and really nerve-wracking to trust someone else with your hair transplant. I hope this video has maybe shed some light on that if you do your research and you find a reputable clinic that's safe, don't let that stop you from getting your hair transplant. So with that, I look forward to making next week's video. Just so you all know, I do check my channel every single day, and I enjoy seeing new subscribers and new comments. So if you haven't yet, please consider hitting the subscribe button down below. It really helps me out. I'm trying to grow this channel up from ground zero here, and it helps you not miss anything that I put out in the future. Next month, I start my new series on home theater, which I'm really excited about, and that should be especially useful to those of you who are trapped in your houses or your basement due to the pandemic. See you next week. So this is Matt. He's 52 years young. He's from Temecula, California. He's an airline pilot, and he enjoys long walks on the beach, ladies.